Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I have on my desk a few pages from the newest kit from Rach and Bella. I'm going to start working on my design team project. Today at the thrift store I found this really cool wine journal. It's almost a shame to use it because it's got a gorgeous cloth cover. Nice spine. It was only $2. But I am going to start by gutting it and covering it. Ah, so sad. But it's red. Red doesn't work because the kit is spring and green and yeah. So I hope everybody is doing well. Thank you for everybody who has stopped by my channel, for all your kind comments and likes and subscribes, and I really, really appreciate it. So when I'm gutting a book, I'm not too precious about how I take it apart because they usually come apart fairly easily if they're sewn together properly. You just use an X-Acto knife and that's going to be too close to the camera, sorry. And go down the line, go fairly gently at the beginning. Sharp X-Acto knife will help. Dull will actually work too and will not cut your cover while you're doing it. And you can see the book block just comes right out. I will probably use part of that book block in the journal as well. And then I'm just going to trim off these little bits here, hopefully. Like so. I'm finding it not challenging to get back into my craft room. I've been, since Christmas, on Black Friday, I bought these two programs. They're Affinity Design, which is similar to Adobe's InDesign, and Affinity Photo, which is similar to Photoshop. And I have some experience using InDesign and a minor amount previously on Photoshop, but like very, very, very limited experience with Photoshop. Mostly I used InDesign, and not for design work, just for magazine layout. And it does translate over, but I'm working on a new kit for you guys, and I kind of got stuck in doing it, and most of what I was doing was using Photoshop and trying to learn how to use it. And yeah, it was like this big rabbit hole that I went down, and I came up for air and I went, oh, it's been a hot minute. So I'll take that price tag off. Try to clean that off a little because I think I bumped my camera. I'm sorry about that. I think it got glitter on there. I bought some paper bags. Dollar Tree had all their Christmas stuff on 50% off. So I bought a few bags that I will then, I may make them into journals now and just store them for Christmas next year. I packed away all my Christmas stuff in a little bin and stuck it on a shelf, and hopefully come Christmas next year I'll remember what shelf I put it on. I'm going to cover my desk with, I'm going to get a fresh piece of parchment paper so that I don't have glue or distress ink all over it. The parchment paper is just to keep my mat from getting covered in glue, because I can just throw away the parchment paper afterwards. And then I think that bird will be quite fabulous on the front cover. And I'm going to leave the white lines that are on the edge to give me extra room for fold over, because otherwise I think I won't have enough room. Except on the back. So I need to figure out if I want the pages to lay that way, which covers this. Am I on frame? Yes, I am. If I lay it that way, then I cover those. Yeah, I think I'll do it that way. So, an X-Acto knife, which we already used, so I know where it is. And I was watching Corey Dahlman's video on storage, and she has her rulers on the underside of her desk. But that doesn't work for me. Partly because I'm short, and I don't know, I reach to my right always. If I need tools, because I'm right-handed, I always reach to my right-hand side. And if I store my rulers on my left-hand side, I think I'd always be going, I don't know where they are. Where did I put my rulers? But I liked her idea so much, I put a little hook on the side of my, like it's right on my desk. And now I hang my ruler on my desk. And it just like revolutionary. I just can't even. Now, do I want to, I think I'm going to leave all of this paper to give reinforcement on the spine. I'm going to use my Gorilla Glue and water mix and hope I actually, like I say, I hope I don't have too much water in there, but I find the wetter this is, the better it goes. Like it's, especially for turning the corners. I'm going to put a generous amount of glue in the water. Like a generous amount of glue. And I can always adjust that if I find it's not enough. And then I just have like these are probably from Dollarama. Let's put our parchment paper back on. The mat. And I'm going to start. Make sure that your glue and water are really well mixed if you do this. And then you can adjust the glue level if you think you haven't got enough. I'm sorry if this is like right underneath your nose and you're like, would you get away from the camera? This is a huge bottle of glue. It is getting to the end of it, so I might get a smaller thing of Gorilla Glue next time. But I will for sure get more Gorilla Glue because I'm so happy with how it works. And then this is going to soak in because that's fabric on the cover currently. Which is fine because it needs to be extremely well saturated. And this way we can tell where the glue went. So stage one is putting lots of your glue water mixture on your surface. Like, make sure it's well and truly saturated. This is easier to tell with the fabric on there because it turns a different color. If you're using a cardboard, you may miss spots. You want to make sure that you've got water and glue on the entire surface. And then I'm going to put it this way. Hopefully then I can tell if I've got it even. Try to do that without getting my face in your face. Put it like that. And then you need to smoosh it out so that your glue adheres to whatever, like your paper. You can see that it's curling at the edges currently, but don't worry about that too much because it's kind of a process. You're doing this in stages. You're not doing, you don't want to do the whole thing at once. The other thing that you need to do if you're wrapping around a book like this is you need to allow for the spine. You will notice on this, you see how there's a little dip here? So when I come around here, if I lay this, like if I go straight, it's not going to go, how to explain this? It needs to be able to move with the spine. So this is, going around a book is really good because the spine is already allowed for. So use whatever your burnishing tool is and push your paper into the spine, and it will move the paper where it needs to be. Basically, you have to allow for that curvature of your spine. And then try to get that glue on that next bit here. Probably would have been better if I had to put the glue, I guess I did already, here. And then do the same thing where you come in here, but make sure that it stays here and then comes from the back towards the spine, not from the front towards the spine, so that you have, that way when you open it, you have your spine as a spine. And try to be careful when you're doing that, or you'll get this where your paper cracks because it's wet. Now, here we want to take two little notches here, because your spine, you need to be able to allow that to come up on the inside. So what you're going to do is, first of all, make sure that this is glued all the way here. Like so. Stay. I taught to inanimate objects, by the way. This is kind of, it's not going to be perfect and it's going to seem like a hot mess for a while. Don't worry about it. It'll all come together. And if it's not perfect, it's a junk journal. So I'm using a photo paper. Hopefully that will help the image adhere, because sometimes if you're using an inkjet, if you get inkjet wet, they don't, the color can run. Now you'll notice I did not cut off the corners, and I'm not going to, and I'll show you why. Most people will, I won't. I don't ever do it. It comes from my years of sewing and doing mitered edges. I find if I do my mitered edges the same way that I would do a mitered edge if I was doing a bias binding, I find it much more effective for junk journaling than if I cut those little corners off. I don't get perfect corners otherwise. So I'm going to come up and I'm going to pull this in like so and squish it down. And it's like going to be a really tight thing because this paper is not very big. And then just fold it over, fold it up. And it might not give me a perfect edge because I don't have very much paper there. If I had more paper, it would work better. The other thing that you can do is you can come in here and you can like make this go flat at your edges a little, but that has the danger of doing like that and tearing your corner. So what I'm going to do when it's all said and done is I'm going to put book corners on, because the book corners will keep the corners from coming apart, or yeah, because there's so little paper here that I think I'm going to definitely need a book corner to keep them together. I would not normally do this, but I'm going to add some art, some Bearly Arts, and hope it works, because I haven't been in my craft room for a week, perhaps longer. There we go. You can see that this held together, but there's more paper here, so it held better. Now, add more glue water here. Oh, that is like, I don't know if this is going to work because it's so close to being the right size. How not to do a junk journal in 2 easy steps, or maybe 1 easy step, and then all you wind up with is glue all over your fingers. Lots and lots of glue. Which then sticks to the paper and I'm trying to get the paper to adhere, and all it's doing is sticking to my fingers. It's like, no. That is not gonna stay. All right, try that. See if that'll work. Oh yeah, that worked. Oh man. Need to get some WD-40 for my chair. It's like squeaking so bad. I'm gonna say it's because my chair is like probably about 60 years old or something. It was my grandfather's chair, and I can't get rid of it. Like, I just cannot get rid of it. I love it so much. But yeah, it probably hasn't had an oiling in about 30 years. Very overdue for one. Realistically, my office chair that I use for work is only a year old, and it squeaks worse than this chair, and this chair is like from the 60s, maybe even older than that. I have to stop working on this because otherwise that paper is still pretty wet and it's going to crack. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to put it this way. I want to weight it so that it can dry oh, I have to do the other side too. Oh, hello. Need more glue. And I just did a desk cleanup and rearrange, and now I'm like, what do I do with my spray bottle of water? It was always like right in reaching distance. Oh, right. For this one, I am not going to come all the way to the spine, so I don't need to worry about making sure that the indentations in the spine are in the paper. And I'm going to come across across here a bit, like so, and overlap what's already on there. Make sure I get that right side up. Try to get that in the middle, and it stuck like there's glue on there or some silly thing. And I think I now have glue all over my desk. Turn that off a little. Most convoluted way to do it, but it's called thinking ahead, which I obviously did not. I'm going to leave a little bit more room on this side, and hopefully it will help with the glue problem I had. All right, so to show you how this would work a little bit better, I'm gonna put my rulers away like I'm supposed to. Ruler away, put my ruler away. So pull that over, kind of hold it down a little. Use your little device that you have for burnishing, and push your paper flat on the two sides if you feel like you need to. You don't have to do that, but it can be helpful. Hopefully that was all on frame. This thing is pretty big, so it's hard to tell where I am on camera. Do the other side. Don't worry if they don't hold down when you first start to do it, because realistically they're not going to. Not bad. Oh, I think I put way more, I was going to say fabric, paper at the bottom on this than I did at the top. I'm going to have to find a way to make that, because that's not very stable. So I think, because this is collage, the papers are all collage, I am going to do what I would do if I was doing a junk journal, or a like a gel print, or a like covering a cover. Isn't that like fun? Covering a cover, which is what we're doing. We're covering a cover. Is I would make a decision like that. And like that. And just cut a piece of paper like so and go. Now you want to keep it away from your corner, otherwise you have to cover your corner, which you could do. It could, that might be a way to give you a little bit of extra stability on those corners. So let's do that. So it's come a bit like so. And then water. This is really wet. And you actually want it really, really, really wet. You want it glue. Definitely you need glue in there, but you almost, it's a bit weird. It's almost like you want a higher ratio of water than you have glue, which is a bit counterintuitive. The reason you want it like that is when the glue, or when the water dries, it will pull your glue mixture. It will shrink as it dries and cause your paper to adhere better. Here I'm not that worried. I do want it to be high enough to come in, but I don't want it to be too much excess paper. Do the same thing where this comes up like so. Push that in. Bring that around. Bring it down. This is a bit goopy, but it is a really nice way to cover something like a pre-existing book. You can buy, like, you go to Dollarama and you buy a journal and they're like $1.50 or something like that, and you put gel print papers or digital papers on it, and now it looks like an art journal, and but the guts of it are from the dollar store. All right, but it is messy, like it's super messy. So I will do that on the other corner as well, so that I have more paper. As you handle it, kind of be careful that your gluey fingers don't wreck all the work that you've done, because that would be sad. Glue. In case you couldn't figure out what I was doing. Glue. Bit like a surgeon. Scalpel. Glue. So all of this is going to get covered with an end paper. I wouldn't leave the inside uncovered anyway, because maroon and our digital kit is primarily springy, greens, blues, not very red is what that was the word I was like in my head trying to find. All right, so next step is to allow this to dry. I will probably weight it a little bit so that the book covers don't warp as it dries. So I'm going to put that under some heavy books, allow it to dry, and then I will come back and show you. I will do a hidden spine in this one, and I'll probably only do 2 signatures because that's a really narrow spine and it's not going to allow me a lot of extra room for papers. There are a number of ways that you can get around that. One of the ways is you could pull the spine out and build your own spine and make it wider, which would be an option, but I'm not that, like, I don't feel like it needs it. Look at how like tight that is already. So the paper I used is a photo paper. I couldn't tell you what brand it is. It was in my stash. I often buy photo paper at the thrift store when I find it. This is a little bit more matte, so I think it might be my koala paper, but I'm not 100% positive that it is. It might be something else. But look at how seamless these 2 little pieces look that were added on afterwards. You can hardly even tell that those were added. And then what I'll do, and I'll show you that when we get there, is I'm going to add some book corners to give it a more polished look. And I am going to add more to this cover because although the bird is a focal image, it doesn't look complete as it is. And I'll probably put lace on here, but I'll bring you along with me as we do that. So until next time, I hope you have a lovely crafty day. Bye.